Will SpaceX make an incredible $800 billion surge? You know, there are business stories that make you pause, take a sip of your coffee, and go, wait, did that really happen? Well, today's one of those days. Because SpaceX, yes, Elon Musk's rocket company, the one that routinely sends rockets into orbit as if it's no big deal, just hit a jaw-dropping valuation of $800 billion. And that's not all. It's now gearing up for something that could shake global markets, a potential public offering. Welcome to L-Impact Solutions Podcast. I'm thrilled you're joining me today because what we're about to unpack isn't just a story about a valuation. It's a story about ambition, timing, and the growing intersection between space and finance. So here's the headline that grabbed everyone's attention this week. SpaceX told employees that it would buy back insider shares at $421 a share. That single move, according to the company's chief financial officer Brett Johnson, values SpaceX at around $800 billion, making it the most valuable private company in the world. To put that into perspective, that's more than half the market cap of Tesla, and higher than OpenAI's current valuation, which sits around $500 billion. Now, if you've been following the financial world lately, this number isn't just big, it's monumental. We're talking about a company nearly tripling its value over the past 2 years, driven mainly by two engines. Its rocket launches and Starlink, the satellite-based internet network that's quietly becoming a global communications powerhouse. The interesting part here is that SpaceX isn't just raising money, it's conducting what's called a tender offer. This means it's buying shares back from insiders, mostly employees and early investors. Essentially, it's a liquidity event. It lets insiders cash out without forcing the company to go public right away. But that little hint in Johnson's letter about a public offering next year has everyone on Wall Street licking their chops. He wrote that the timing and valuation of a public offering are still uncertain. He even used words like, if we execute brilliantly, and if the markets cooperate. Translation, they're serious about it, but they're also aware of how unpredictable market sentiment can be, especially going into 2026 as inflation patterns, interest rates, and geopolitical dynamics continue to shift. If this IPO happens, it could be one of the largest in history. Think about it. The wealth creation potential here is massive. Early SpaceX employees and investors could see life-changing gains. But beyond the numbers, this story also raises deeper questions about Musk's growing influence, not only as a tech visionary, but as a geopolitical and economic actor. Let's remember that SpaceX isn't just a commercial rocket company anymore. It's deeply embedded in national and global security. It works closely with NASA and the Pentagon. Starlink is being used in active conflict zones, including to help maintain communication in Ukraine. So, when you think about a public offering, you have to ask, what happens when a company that literally operates at the edge of Earth's orbit becomes accountable to public shareholders? On the flip side, this valuation also puts enormous pressure on performance. An $800 billion valuation demands growth that justifies it. And although SpaceX has an impressive track record, it's entering a very different territory now, one where investors expect quarterly results, transparency, and financial discipline. For Elon Musk, this adds another layer of complexity. Tesla's stock has faced its share of turbulence. Twitter, or should I say X, has been an adventure on its own, and now, SpaceX could be the crown jewel that anchors his empire. But it also risks being pulled into the same volatility that follows Musk everywhere he goes. Public markets love visionary leaders, but they also demand predictability, something Musk isn't particularly known for. Still, if there's one thing that's undeniable, it's Musk's knack for defying gravity, literally and figuratively. From landing reusable rockets to building an internet network that reaches remote villages, SpaceX has done things most companies wouldn't even attempt. That's partly why investors find it so hard to bet against Musk. His track record with long-term innovation, even in the face of short-term skepticism, remains unmatched. The timing of this valuation jump also hints at something bigger. Investors are hungry for a new mega IPO story. Since AI took the spotlight in 2023, the hype has largely centered around software, OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. SpaceX reminds the market that the next frontier isn't just digital, it's orbital. It combines hard tech, infrastructure, and a business model that relies on physical dominance of a new domain, space. So what should we, as investors and observers, take from this? I'd say it's twofold. First, the private capital market is still incredibly robust for companies with real-world assets and proven cash flow. Second, the line between government partnerships and private innovation continues to blur. When private companies like SpaceX manage defense contracts, satellite networks, and global communication infrastructure, their valuations stop being just business numbers. They start representing influence and power. Now, whether Musk decides to pull the trigger on an IPO next year will depend on one thing: how well SpaceX can maintain its momentum while balancing investor expectations. But one thing's for sure, this move signals confidence. It's Musk telling the world that SpaceX isn't just a space company anymore. It's becoming an economic institution. And that leads us to the big question I want to leave you with today. If SpaceX does go public, do you think Elon Musk's influence on markets and government will become too powerful? Or is this exactly the kind of leadership the future of innovation needs? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.